Welcome, my name is Jeremy Farrance. I'm going to be demoing a new feature that's coming up in probably DNN 10.4, and I'm going to kind of walk you through the life cycle of how this feature came about and demo it and show you how I was able to demo it, which is a specific thing I'm planning on doing as a future demo. Installing and using locally a version of DNN from a PR using artifacts. So this started on April 3rd of this year with Tycho, who came up with the idea of converting the page header tags so that we can actually manage them a little better, because currently in DNN we have, which version am I on? Sorry, I have this screen in the way. Okay, over here. This is a current version of DNN 10.2.5, and you'll notice we have this page header tag section. As an agency, we don't use this much. We'd rather have better control of our page header tags through our skin. Every one of our sites has a custom theme that we build, and so Peter Donker's still here. He did the recent CDF stuff, and we greatly appreciate that. The new method, fluent method of adding these via code is fantastic. So Tycho put up the idea of converting what you just saw into a little interface so that you could name them and add them. And just naming them alone is fantastic. As this progressed and people immediately started chatting about it, people discussed the implementation. Quite a few things. This is worth reading if you want to go into DNN issues. It's 7184, but somewhere along the way in the last few weeks, this changed to a pull request, meaning someone sat down and started doing some code and some work. And after the first version was working and you could play with it on your computer, these are all changes that were proposed. Here's a post by me where I kind of suggested that instead of this tight interface side by side with the sitemap priority, that you switch it and we have a nice big open edit area for each one of these full screen, because these can be pretty involved in detail, and putting them in a tight little box is kind of one of the problems this thing should be solving. Anyhow, this moved on pretty quickly into some code, and I don't know if you guys know this, but when a PR is out there, GitHub is running actions and compiling these things in the background. As you can see right now, the latest version is failing 13 minutes into the process. So what I had to do was go into the artifacts and get a version that I had previously downloaded about 2 weeks ago.
Just a little note, the one you see with the blue thing is Azure Pipelines, and we are transitioning to GitHub Actions. So the yellow build and validate, that would be the modern one.
So that's coming soon. I'll have to try that.
Yeah, it
As
didn't.
soon as you see one that's working, let me know. So I'll switch over with the way I do this to that.
Yeah, if you switch PRs, you're going to see some of them working. That should be a green dot. That is the new way to go get the releases, the PR artifacts.
All right,
We're
and
transitioning away from Azure Pipeline slowly.
so with these, then you work through getting the artifacts, the download, and inside that download zip, you will find an installer for DNN. And I use that to use NV QuickSite to put up this version of the website. So you'll notice here, it looks like I'm running 10.3.3. But I believe if you look up here, you'll see that it's beta version 10.3.3 build 23. And the way I name my versions, I'm a little anal retentive so that I can keep track of in NV QuickSite all the different versions that I have on my local machine. So you can see this is from PR 7248, build 23. So here's what the page settings screen looked like previously, as you saw before. And here's what it looks like now. We have this new row. We've moved the sitemap stuff down, and we can start adding tags in here. And the name can be anything you want. It's not really relevant. It's just something you want to name them well for yourself, because you're going to come back here in 3 months or a year when you don't remember and want to know what the heck it is or what it does. So I'm just going to paste in one that's not a real tag. It just says nonsense, and we're going to hit save. Now, at this point, if you hit save and go look at the results of your page, it's not going to be there yet. You have to actually save the page. Once you do that and reload and view page source, you will see, there it is. You will see there's now a tag up here in the head called nonsense. So that doesn't hurt your website. As everyone knows, once you put these tags in the header, the browser is the one that has to process it. So you can put anything you want in there. You'll probably get errors in your console log if they try to do anything that doesn't work or it can't find. You can add multiple tags. So we'll do another one real quick. Where's my stuff? There. So here's an example of adding a script. So we're just, I don't know if any of you use Tailwind, but in the latest version, they've finally got some web components that they support called elements. So we're just going to call this one elements v1, as if I was going to come back and look at that later, and save. And again, this is on a per page basis. So now when I refresh, you're going to see both of these in here. So this is a really quick way to get something on the page. One of the things that happens is you might not be able to edit your skin or theme, but you might need a way to put something. A good example might be a chat interface on your page. Like we like to use talk.io. I don't know if anyone else here uses that. Talk to. Really good chat interface that you can put on a DNN site, as simple as putting one little header include on the page and you're off and running. So this allows you to organize them, keep them separate rather than having that old box, which could have a whole bunch of stuff, but it'd be kind of, you have to paste it in some other editor and see it. So anyhow, really like this feature. Just to show there's also an additional area where this has affected the interface. If you go into site settings, site behavior, and look at default pages, here's the old version. You could do HTML page header tags up here. And again, you just have a big box to type into. But in the new version, it's been converted to this add tag method, and you have the same interface again. So you can do something site-wide. And I believe that's the two places this header tag feature is implemented. If I'm wrong about that, someone could correct me right now. Those are the two places that I found, and I didn't look closely at the code. So, but again, add header tags for the whole site, add header tags individually for any page, and keep better track of them. I highly recommend you name them well, because if you're like me, you'll be staring at it a year from now and you'll be like, what did that do? So, and again, I'm kind of showing two things at once. I just also wanted to show off that it is possible to follow new features on the DNN platform and GitHub. And when they turn into PRs, there is a way for you to go get an installer and get that set up and running on your machine so you can go and play with it, which I highly encourage people to do because you are testing stuff. You can then give feedback. You can comment either on the issue or the PR and be talking to directly to the people that are writing these things and thinking them through. and it's amazing. I mean, in this case, I actually influenced this one early on into going full screen width, and I'm really proud of that. You need these things need feedback. Any developer that writes stuff in a vacuum tends to write really weird software, as you guys have all seen over the years. So I highly recommend you look into this. And next month, I will go through the detailed process of finding a PR, finding the artifacts, downloading it, and installing and spinning up um, D, uh, DNN version using NV QuickSight. So, anyone have any questions?
I have one. Jeremy, what's going to happen if you've used the old school method of doing the page headers and a new version of DNN comes out and we happily upgrade? Does
Glad
things
you asked
break?
that because they thought of that. That was something someone brought up, and from what I have seen so far, and I didn't test it here, but they migrate it really nicely. They end up doing things like renaming the old uh, page settings tag that was used before. Everything's done really nicely. It's very well thought through. Quite a few people participated in the both the issue and the PR and brought up some great points. They even recently introduced some levels of caching, which makes this really fast. So yeah, that's completely covered. It still needs some testing. Um, Again, this isn't going to be in 10.3.3. This will be in 10.4.0. So when there's an RD of our a release candidate of 10.4, I expect Steve Karpik to do a little bit of testing on this and probably test out specifically that.
Cool. Yeah, the the reason one of the reasons it's not in yet is indeed we first wanted to get 10.3.3 shipped before we started integrating the code into the main project.
Yeah,
And
I
I
greatly
start
appreciate
preparing
it when
Tim
we
for
don't see new features in a point release. It needs to be in a,
exactly,
we need them in
exactly.
the minor releases. So I notice we've
Yeah,
missed that on occasion, but yeah, the
yeah,
world works much better when the new features are only in minor releases and major features
yeah,
are only in major releases.
yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
All right, if no one else has any other questions about this feature,
Oh, I was just gonna say one thing. Um, I put it in the chat, but it'd be so cool to have like permissions eventually on it, so you could show public users, the chat widget or load the script for the chat widget for public users, but then not load it for if you're administrator or something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
I actually agree that that's really cool, but by the time you get down to that level of fine-grained control, I would have to say, I mean, if it were a project here where I work, I would be insisting that it's moved into the theme to the skin and done that way. I, Anything works for anybody, but I do agree they could add a lot of features to this in the future, and permissions is definitely one of them.
You know,
Cool.
although permissions usually does drag in a lot of
Yeah,
UI.
yes, I
You
agree.
get it's not a drop down or a button anymore, but it's a grid with
Yeah, look
people
at
that
this.
can be added and roles, and then are you gonna have it per user
You need to be
kind of
careful. You're
permission
going
on
to
that?
get me on
It,
my
it
little
gets
rant
it
about why
gets
I can't
real
uncheck
complex
these.
real fast, like
Yes,
that kind of stuff
I
with
agree.
the permissions. But like you said, there's a lot of stuff you can do with the skin as well. And yeah, thanks
Anyhow,
for showing how it works.
yep. So nice new feature coming in 10.4, and we got to see it ahead of time.